Happy 100th birthday, Hampton Court. Let us take you back to the dawn of the 20th century. The year is 1907. Indoor plumbing became common 7 years earlier. Electricity was introduced to Lexington in 1886, but wasn't inexpensive and reliable until 1890 with the construction of a modern $60,000 power plant. In 1907, only 8% of the homes had electricity. Although Main Street was lit and dubbed the Great White Way, and electric streetlights were installed on the Jefferson Street Viaduct. The telegraph had been part of life for 58 years, and the telephone for just 27 years, which was also when the last stagecoach left Lexington. And in 1882, the first street railway was in operation. 5 years earlier, in 1902, mass production of the Oldsmobile made cars readily available in Lexington. It is only 42 years after the Civil War, and it will be another 47 years before the Civil Rights Movement begins. And April 17, 1907, was the busiest day in Ellis Island's history, with the arrival of 11,747 immigrants. Lexington and the country have come a long way in one short century. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this short introduction to our neighborhood.
Thanks for allowing us this opportunity to introduce you to our home.
You're about to be caught up in a whirlwind of history and time travel, meeting a few of those who came before us and whose many different voices tell the single fascinating story of the Northside.
Experience the effect they had not only on our neighborhood, but also on Lexington, Kentucky, and the country.
The Northside neighborhood of Lexington, Kentucky is the largest and one of the oldest neighborhoods in Lexington. Roughly, the Northside, as it is called, is bounded on either end by 2nd Street to the railroad tracks. Think Flag Fork Farm, Buffalo and Dad's. And on either side by North Limestone Street and Newtown Pike.
However, this neighborhood is more than the sum of its parts. Those who live here describe it as lively, stimulating, diverse, eclectic, charming, historic, evolving.
Announce that it is populated by artists and architects, doctors and lawyers, merchants, scholars, and many others.
Residents of the North Side say that it consists of schools and houses, restaurants and galleries, churches and condominiums, that indeed it is an urban center.
Clearly, the North Side is a place to enjoy and to grow. It is a place to work, worship, and relax, to be part of history.
Little surprise that it's adorned with gems of smaller neighborhoods, Fayette Park, Ellesmere Park, and Hampton Court, celebrating a century of life.
Or that the architecture of the North Side offers examples of Victorian, Gothic, Romanesque, Chateauesque, arts and crafts, Italianate, Greek Revival.
Often travel outside of Lexington to appreciate the architecture, food, art, entertainment, and history of other places. But why not stay at home and enjoy what the North Side has to offer?
The physical center of the North Side is Transylvania University. Transy, as it is known, is the oldest institution of higher learning west of the Allegheny Mountains.
Transylvania College, tutor of the West, was established in Danville in 1780 and moved to Lexington in 1789 to Grass Park. When the first building was destroyed by fire, the school was moved to its present location. You probably know the names of some of the alum of Transy, who later became prominent figures in American history.
U.S. Senator and three-time presidential candidate Henry Clay, who, by the way, began his political career in a small office on Mill Street in the North Side.
Father of Texas, Stephen F. Austin. President of the Confederate States, Jefferson Davis.
The first U.S. Supreme Court Justice with a modern law degree, which he earned at Transy's Law School in 1853, John Marshall Harlan.
And U.S. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Freeman Miller, who earned his medical degree at Transy, then practiced medicine in Barberville, Kentucky, before becoming a lawyer and being appointed to the Supreme Court by Abraham Lincoln in 1862.
But did you know that Old Morrison on Transy's campus is the first Greek Revival building on a college campus and was built in 1833 under the supervision of Henry Clay, who taught law at Transy and served as a member of its board, or that Old Morrison was used as a hospital and prison for both sides during the Civil War. Some say bloodstains can still be seen on the marble floors.
Here's a little trivia. Transylvania University is the setting for part of what famous novel?
Give yourself a pat on the back if you said All the King's Men by Robert Penn Warren.
During the Civil War, Union forces used the Transylvania campus and were headquartered at the Bodley Bullock House on the corner of Gratz Park, while Confederate sympathizers used the Hunt Morgan House directly across the park from them.
Gratz Park is the oldest park in Lexington. John Wesley Hunt, who prospered as owner of a hemp factory and woolen mill and is thought to be the first millionaire west of the Alleghenies, built the house now known as the Hunt Morgan House. Confederate General John Hunt Morgan later lived there, as did his nephew, Nobel Prize-winning biologist Thomas Hunt Morgan.
By the early 19th century, Lexington was a regional trade center and was a major manufacturing center during that century. Most of the manufacturing was hemp production. Hemp, the city's principal crop until tobacco replaced it around 1870, was grown on area farms, then manufactured into rope on rope walks, or factories within the city limits. One such rope walk ran parallel to 3rd Street.
Rope walks were long, narrow buildings in which essentially two people walked with the hemp, using their bodies as if they were parts in a spinning wheel.
Many religious organizations were founded in Lexington that became first for Kentucky, and in some cases for the West. Christ Church at Church and Market Streets was established in 1796 and was the first Episcopal congregation west of the Allegheny Mountains. It is built in the Gothic Revival style.
Eastern State Hospital at West 4th Street and Newtown Pike is the nation's second oldest state-run psychiatric hospital. It was established in 1822 as the Lunatic Asylum and opened to its first patient in 1824.
During the period of 1800 to 1833, Lexington became an intellectual and religious center.
In the summer of 1833, cholera struck. It's reported that in less than 10 days, people were dying at the rate of 50 a day. In one Lexington family of 19, all but 2 family members died. From the tragedy of cholera came the Lexington Orphan Asylum, which was never left wanting from the good citizens of Lexington.
Sayre Female Institute, an all-female boarding school, now known as Sayre School, was established in 1854 and was built by Thomas Lewinsky and John McMurtry, who also built Christ Church. Sayre is in the Italianate and Greek Revival styles.
Hawker Female Institute, a private women's college founded in 1869, became Hamilton College after a donation from William Hamilton. Its only remaining building, Graham Cottage at 469 North Broadway, was built in the Greek Revival style and is Transy's Alumni Reception Center.
One notable alumnus of Hamilton College is Maureen Dallas Watkins, a journalist and author of the play Chicago.
Lexington's best example of Greek Revival architecture is the January House on 2nd Street, constructed around 1880, which was once the Episcopal Theological Seminary building.
Did you know that the Campbell Hagerman College, another private women's college in the Northside, also was located on 2nd Street, next door to the January House?
The Carnegie Center, a beautiful neoclassical building at the south end of Gratz Park, was built in 1906 as a gift to the city from the Andrew Carnegie Foundation.
But did you know that the Lexington Public Library was once located here? And did you realize that the Lexington Public Library is the oldest public library in Kentucky and possibly in the West?